Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from Romania, and I want to give you guys an update on a story that I briefly shared with you earlier this morning. That Ukrainian monitoring channels on Telegram were reporting that a Russian drone crossing through Ukraine had entered into Romanian airspace. We were able to confirm that as mainstream news is coming out now showing this information. Let's talk about this report here on your screen. A Russian drone violates Romanian airspace during attack on Ukraine. Romania scrambled two F 16 jets on Saturday after detecting a drone that had breached its airspace during a Russian attack on neighboring Ukraine, the country's defense ministry said. So, Romania is coming out today and confirming that this Russian drone did breach its airspace during a night attack onto Ukraine. This is going to be in the county of Tulcea, which is going to be in the southeastern side of Romania, close to the Black Sea. We're going to talk more about this today and give you more information what happened with this story, because it was literally just a few days ago on Wednesday when Poland, another NATO nation right next door to Romania, came under a pretty large drone attack. Over 20 drones were recorded entering into Polish airspace, many of them having to be shot down, and these were Russian drones that were attacking Ukraine and also crossing through Belarus. So let's jump into this. I'm going to show you guys a mainstream news report over here on Barron's. And the title says, Romania says Russian drone breached its airspace. This coming out today, September 13th, 2025. You can see the date right here. And the information reads, Romania's defense ministry said Saturday that the country's airspace had been breached by a drone during a Russian attack on infrastructure in neighboring Ukraine. The incident came after Poland announced the intrusion of Russian drones into its airspace this week, calling on Moscow to avoid further provocations. NATO member Romania has had several drone fragments crash on its soil since Moscow invaded Ukraine, especially as Russia has stepped up attacks on Ukrainian ports. The country scrambled two F 16 fighter jets late on Saturday to monitor the situation following strikes on Ukraine, said a defense ministry statement. Okay, so we have had a lot of incidents, probably more than 10, I'd say, where we had drones either briefly breaching the airspace of Romania, sometimes even crashing over there. We've had numerous reports. It's going to be around the same area where this drone was attacking today, also in Tulcea County, down in southeastern side of Romania's territory. And it says the jets detected a drone in national airspace and tracked it until it disappeared from the radar near the village of Chiliaveci. It added, the drone did not fly over populated areas and did not pose an imminent threat to the safety of the population, said the statement. Teams were ready to be deployed to begin searching for possible debris from the aerial vehicle. So it mentions here that apparently this drone had disappeared from radar near the village of Chiliaveci. I'm going to pull it up on a map and we'll talk about that. So they're saying they detected this drone in their national airspace and they tracked it until it basically disappeared. So where did this drone go? Did it go back into Ukraine? Some reports today were indicating that basically these two fighter jets had escorted this drone back into Ukraine and allowed it to fly into Ukraine, possibly striking somewhere over there. Can't completely confirm that. But it also says here in February, Romania's upper house of parliament adopted a law that makes it possible for the country to shoot down drones breaching its airspace. Yeah, so that's the question that I have is why did they not shoot this drone down if it was flying inside of their territory? If the military has the ability to do this and by law they're allowed to, why are they not shooting down this drone? Why did they just track it for some time until it finally disappeared on radar? I thought that was very interesting. But we're going to hop on over here to a map now, and let me show you exactly where this incident took place at. So let's go ahead and take a look at this map here on Google Maps. We've got Ukraine. Here's Russian territory over here. This is going to be where Romania's at. So down here near the Black Sea and the Odessa region of Ukraine, which is going to be this region right here. The southeastern side of Romania, we've got Tulcea County, which is kind of this whole area right here. Okay, and apparently this Russian drone was entering into this area of Tulcea County, and it apparently had maybe turned back around, possibly headed back to Ukraine, or did it maybe head over here for the Black Sea? We're not really sure, but Chiliaveci is going to be this settlement right here, right on the border of the Danube River. This is Ukrainian territory, then this is Romanian territory, and apparently this drone had flown over here somewhere and then eventually flew off radar. So most likely what I'm thinking is this drone went back into Ukraine, so it probably flew in to Romanian territory, probably circled back around and headed back into Ukraine. And isn't that crazy that these jets did not shoot down this drone? If they did allow it to go back into Ukraine, why would they do that and risk that drone possibly crashing and maybe damaging somebody's home, taking somebody's life inside of Ukraine? Why did they not shoot this down? Definitely very interesting, but just wanted to show you on a map kind of where this is located at, down in the southwestern side of Ukraine near the Odessa region and the southeastern side of Romania. So let's hop on over to X now. I've got a few things to share with you guys over here as well. This one from Military News UA. The footage shows two Romanian Air Force F-16s chasing a Russian Shahed drone over Tulcea County, which borders Odessa Oblast. The fighters escorted the drone until it returned to Odessa Oblast. There were no attempts to destroy it. We've got a video here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so as we can see with this information here on X from Military News UA indicating that these F-16 pilots actually just escorted this drone back into the Odessa Oblast of Ukraine. Okay, so that's just crazy if they happen to do this. I mean, they do have the ability to shoot these down with this new law that has been passed inside of Romania. Why did they not take this drone down, and why did they allow it to fly back into Ukraine, possibly taking somebody's life? That is absolutely insane that the Romanian Air Force did that. Let me know how you feel on that decision today if that happens to be the case. Now for BNO News, breaking: Poland issues warning due to threat of Russian drones, sirens activated. Yeah, so not only did we have this drone crossing into Romania, but there was a lot of reports that possibly drones could be attacking into Poland again. There was many different drones that were attacking the Volyn region, which is going to be up in northwestern side of Ukraine and very close to the border of Poland. So Poland was activating a lot of different sirens in the area. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this video real quick. All right, so we also had reports earlier this morning that the Lublin airport, it's a major city on the eastern side of Poland, was shutting down that airport due to potential attacks coming from Russia if there was going to be more drones crossing into their territory. I was not able to confirm if any drones did cross into Poland, but from what I heard, there was no drone incursions into Polish airspace, only that one drone into Romania today. Now from Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine. He says today Romania scrambled combat aircraft because of a Russian drone in its airspace. According to current data, the drone penetrated about 10 kilometers into Romanian territory and operated in NATO airspace for around 50 minutes. Also today, Poland responded militarily to the threat of Russian attack drones. In fact, Russian drones have been in different regions of Ukraine all day, including the northern regions, practically along the border with Belarus. According to preliminary information, Belarusian airspace was also used for entry into Ukraine's airspace toward Volyn. The Russian military knows exactly where their drones are headed and how long they can operate in the air. Their routes are always calculated. This cannot be a coincidence, a mistake, or initiative of some lower-level commanders. It is an obvious expansion of the war by Russia, and this is exactly how they act. Small steps at first and eventually big losses. This is why action must always be preventative, based on the principle that there are no minor military threats from those who are accustomed to destroying the independence and lives of others. Russia is accustomed to this and must feel the consequences. Sanctions against Russia are needed. Tariffs against Russian trade are needed. Collective defense is needed, and Ukraine has proposed to its partners the creation of just such a system of protection. Do not wait for dozens of Shaheeds and ballistic missiles before finally making decisions. So huge statement from Volodymyr Zelenskyy today, warning NATO partners, especially Poland and Romania today, considering that this drone flew into Romanian territory for 50 minutes. Can you believe that? This drone flew around in their territory for nearly an hour and was not shot down. And then if that happens to be true, they escorted it back into Ukraine. That's just mind-boggling to me. But really warning Poland here that these drones that flew into Poland on Wednesday was actually a calculated attack. These drones coming from Russia, this was a deliberate action, not a mistake. That they are also claiming here that these drones that were attacking the Volyn region up in northwestern Ukraine, close to the border of Poland, were actually flying through Belarusian airspace. Okay, so Russia clearly knows what they're doing here with these drone strikes. and these attacks onto NATO. And he believes that this is an expansion of the war, and that's what he's warning NATO about today. Here's a video now from Nexta, and it says Zelenskyy said that Putin has entered a war with Poland. The president of Ukraine also warned Europe Russian drones can cover much greater distances. I call on our partners to stop making excuses. Why not impose sanctions? Zelenskyy stressed Russia's war against Ukraine is Putin's war, and Russia's war against Poland is also Putin's war. So this is going to be Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine today, warning the people of Ukraine and also NATO that this war is now opening up into Poland, okay? That this is not just a war on Ukraine anymore. This is now becoming a war onto Poland. Take a look at this.
Всі бачать, що війна Росії проти України – це війна Путіна. Всі бачать, що російські дрони проти Польщі – це теж війна Путіна. І це попередження не тільки для поляків, а для всіх в Європі. Російські дрони можуть подолати значно більшу відстань. Це вже дуже довга війна Росії, її амбіцій, її можливості, її бюджету. Всі бачать.
All right, so something to me that makes it very obvious that Russia deliberately attacked Poland that I was thinking about right now is the fact that these drones went right into Poland just a few days before Russia was about to hold these major exercises, the Zapad 2025 military exercises inside of Belarus. And now we have this drone going into Romania just today as well. Why is all of this happening right around that same time? And if Zelenskyy is stating that this war is expanding, NATO's now getting dragged into it. This is a war on Poland, possibly other nations like maybe the Baltic nations or Finland, maybe even Romania, who knows in the future. He's definitely warning that this war is expanding, and this war is now involving Poland, not only Ukraine. So let me know how you feel on his statement today. Do you agree with what Volodymyr Zelenskyy has to say there? All right, now our final update from Kate from Kharkiv, and it says, seriously, how many times does Poland have to repeat it? And she shared a post from open source intel on X. It says U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the drone incursion in Poland shouldn't have happened, calling it unacceptable and dangerous. He added that there is no doubt that drones were intentionally launched, but it is unknown if the incursion into Poland was intentional. Now, isn't that interesting? Because numerous times this week we had reports coming out from top leaders inside of Poland, the Prime Minister Donald Tusk and also the Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski, both stating numerous times that this was an intentional and deliberate attack from Russia. And on top of that, we've had numerous reports also that were indicating that these drones that were coming from Russia had extra fuel tanks on board, which allowed them to fly deep into Poland, sometimes as far as 500 kilometers, and crashing in some towns. And also on top of that, apparently these drones had some sort of electronic warfare protection. They had some equipment on board that prevented them from being jammed from electronic warfare systems inside of Ukraine, which also allowed them to fly into Poland. So, I mean, so many reports. How can you deny this? And then, him stating here that this is unacceptable and dangerous, I do have to agree with that. But stating that he thinks these drones were intentionally launched, which obviously they were. They went through Ukraine and Belarus. But he states he doesn't know if the incursion into Poland was intentional. And that lines up exactly with U.S. President Donald Trump, who just the other day told a reporter on a news station that he thinks that this could have been a mistake. And he also states that he was unhappy with it, but the fact that he's saying is a mistake, I mean, how can we deny that this was not a deliberate attack? And just the timing with this, all around the time with these Zapad 2025 military exercises right now that Russia's carrying out inside of Belarus, they're preparing for a major attack onto the Suwalki Gap, which separates Lithuania and Poland, that could possibly connect Kaliningrad back into Belarus eventually. I mean, just so much going on right now, guys. How can we not deny that this was most likely a deliberate attack onto Poland? But clearly the U.S. administration today does not believe that it was and could have been a mistake. So very crazy. I'm going to continue to monitor what's happening over here in Eastern Europe. We're definitely very close to something major breaking out, and at some point NATO could get dragged into this conflict, and they are definitely preparing right now. NATO's doing a lot of military exercises also. So just be ready for anything. Anything can really happen right now. I want to thank you guys very much for being here. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.